say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. We thank you for the opportunity once again to interact with each and every and all of you. Each and every time your civilization allows our civilization to interact with you in this way, it gives us an opportunity to experience through all of you, collectively, and each of you, individually, another aspect, another facet of the multidimensional crystal of creation. So we thank you for this gift of sharing that forms a link and a bridge between our respective realities and co-creates with us a new third reality in which we can vibrationally interact more closely, more strongly, each and every day. To begin this transmission, we would like to recognize the idea that many of you have requested more information about the process of acceleration in your transformation. And so, we would like to address that subject with the title, Slipstream, to allow you to become much more superconductive, much more hyperconductive of the energy that you are, flowing through your being, flowing through your body, flowing through your consciousness, so that you can, as you say, gain a handle on how to allow this energy to serve you best in the most conscious way possible. What is acceleration of energy? What is the transformation? What is actually happening in the idea you call the transformation on your planet at this time? Well, thank you for asking. I will answer. The idea of transformation really is more awareness of more of yourself, more of who and what you actually are already. Because you're not really so much becoming something as you are remembering what you already are, awakening to what you already were created to be. So this entire process of transformation, this entire process of acceleration is all about gaining more and more aptitude, more and more awareness, more and more ability to perceive more of the being you are already created to be. And in that process, thus then being more capable of actually applying more of your awareness, more of your energy, more of your consciousness to your physical reality experience in such a manner so as to allow your physical reality to reflect back to you those changes going on within you in a positive and constructive and expansive and integrative way. Now, we wish to clarify a few ideas that we have perceived exist within many of the people on your planet with regard to these ideas, with regard to these processes, with regard to, most specifically, the definitions that go with these processes. We have heard many of your people talk about the idea of wanting to learn how to shift, wanting to learn how to change. And again, I remind you, it isn't really about learning how to shift, learning how to change. It is becoming more aware of the fact that you are already shifting and you're already changing. The idea, we have also heard from many of you, is that you want to let go of doubt and you want to learn to trust more and more and more in your true self. And again, I remind you, it isn't about learning how to trust. It is about learning what to trust in. Because the idea is that shifting, changing, trusting are all automatic functions of your existence. You cannot help but shift. You cannot help but change. You cannot help but trust. Oh, but Bashar, I have doubts. Yes, I know. But doubt is not a lack of trust. Doubt is a 100% trust in a definition that is out of alignment with your truth. There's a difference. You are never, ever, 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 not for a moment, not trusting something to be true. The question, therefore, is, Not, how do I learn to trust? The question is, how do I allow myself to trust what I want to trust in, instead of trusting what I don't prefer? That's the issue. You don't have to learn how to trust. You don't have to learn how to change. You don't have to learn how to shift. You do it automatically. It's built into you as a mechanism of creation because you are co-creators with all that is. So let go of the idea that this has to be difficult, that you have to learn something difficult, that you have to learn to do something you don't know how to do. You're already doing these things. You do them as absolutely automatically, so automatically, you don't even know you're doing them. That's the issue. So we remind you now that you know how to do all this changing and shifting and trusting. You do it all the time. What we will now work together with you on is examining the idea of having more conscious awareness of the fact that you're already shifting, and thus then you can apply your focus to shift in the way you prefer. You can apply your focus to change in the way you prefer. You can apply your focus to trust what you wish to trust in. what you prefer to trust in. But now that you know you don't have to learn to change, learn to shift, and learn to trust, it lightens up the load. You don't have so much to do. It's all on automatic, and all you have to do is direct, slightly and subtly, and most profoundly direct the course of those changes and shifts and trusts. And how do you do that? Thank you, I'll tell you. The idea, again, is to become more aware, much, much more aware of the definitions in your life, so that you are not hampering yourself, so that you are not impeding yourself with a definition in your consciousness that doesn't work for you. Many times on your planet, being brought up with certain ideas, certain belief systems in society, and from your parents, you are spoon-fed, along with your baby food, a diet of ideas without even knowing it. Your parents telepathically, no fault of their own, because this is what they learned from their parents and their societies, will automatically spoon-feed you telepathically with certain ideas they hold to be true. The idea thus then is that when you are a child, you don't really know that you are on a double diet of food and ideas. But when you grow up and ostensibly, supposedly, become adults, the idea thus then is that when you are now expected to be on your own, you suddenly start regurgitating all these ideas. You suddenly discover all the ideas you were spoon-fed as a child and now have to deal with, and now have to discover that some of them don't go down lightly because they don't belong to you. They're not digestible by you. They are ideas that may or may not have worked for your parents or other members of your society, but by being generally spoon-fed this entire array of ideas, you will now be expected, in a sense, as an adult, to figure out which one of these ideas works and which you wish to continue to incorporate in your being, and what ideas do not work for you and which you are willing to let go of. But first you have to find out what they are, because these ideas were spoon-fed to you at a level and at an age where they are primarily unconscious within you. Thus then, that's why you suddenly discover, as you set out on your lives, that you may run into what you call impediments or obstacles. But these are really just opportunities to discover ideas that exist within your unconscious mind and bring them into conscious realization, so that you can, in fact, deal with them and decide whether you prefer to keep them. And if you do, thus then allow yourself to integrate them consciously within your mind. And if you decide not to keep them, to figure out how to let them go and replace them with ideas that you prefer to define yourself as a person you prefer to be.